you tomorrow.
Right, here goes.
Okay, good evening everybody, and welcome to the Tour du Monde 2023 edition. Tonight we've got stage 5, which for those contestants out there, you'll realise it's been set back a few minutes due to technical issues. But we're finally up and running. Hopefully all the riders managed to get back in to the software that wanted to start. I can just see a late arriver arriving on the line now, so yeah, hopefully he's the last. And we're starting in 20 seconds. Now it's a flat course, it's about 38 kilometres, 38 and a half kilometres. So, and we've already had a bit of a, how can I put this diplomatically? A bit of a fast card played by pedalers, because all the main contenders, John Beams, Henrik Mard and Doug Hart, all three went off at the earlier running of the event, and they're currently in the lead. Now I'll give you the times in a minute, but suffice it to say that they all finished within 300ths of a second of each other. So they obviously worked together, those three, and finished together. I'll give you the order in a sec. So Doug Hart took the win. He's leading with 54 minutes, 48 seconds and 3 hundredths. Henrik Mard finished second in 54.48, 4 hundredths of a second. And John Beams finished third in 54.48, 6 hundredths of a second. So only fractions between the three of them, all finishing 54.48. Now, will that time get beaten tonight? Well, we've a couple of big hitters in tonight's rollout. So let's see what they can manage. We'll get a better idea as the race gets underway and we really get into it. You can see from the profile there's nothing to bother the riders. It's almost completely flat. Yes, a couple of bumps, but bumps to these riders aren't going to make the slightest bit of difference. Nobody's going to get dropped on these bumps on this course, that's for sure. So I fully expect a huge group to stay together, and the only riders dropped off the back, it'll be like attrition. There'll just be the odd riders that just cannot maintain the pace, but the majority will be drafting and trying to stay in contact. Now, one thing to note is 17 OTR riders started this race. So I fully expect, and in fact you can see that happening now, I fully expect OTR to boss it. They definitely need to be working together as multiple teams and use the numbers advantage they've got. Now, you've got other teams, notably Southern District Wheelers have got a good turnout, Vassal Racing have got a good turnout, Moon Riders have also got a good turnout. So you've got multiple teams with numerous riders taking part. team tactics should play a part tonight. It didn't when we watched the last flat stage, but tonight I'll be really, really disappointed if team tactics don't play a part. So come on folks, make it a good race, make it an exciting race. Anyway, let's get to the action. Andy, we can get to the front and let's see who's leading it out. Okay, no surprise to see Arhen, the Swedish rider, off the front and pulling them along, wanting to set the pace high, because these riders will have looked and many of them will know the earlier time set. Now I think they're going to struggle to match the earlier times. As I say, I think Pedlars have definitely pulled a fast one here. Not against the rules, but for all three of their main riders on the GC to go in the same event earlier than the main contenders further down the field. I think that's a fast one. But, you know, kudos, it worked. They have obviously finished all together. It now remains to see whether a bigger group, of which this is going to be, can actually get close to that time. Now obviously in the early part of the race I can't tell you that. I'm not that brainy that I can calculate the finishing time, but by the time we get to the midway point we will have a good idea of whether they're on target or not, and in fact even to the quarter point we should get an indication. So if I can remember, we'll call out the times and see what's happening. But I don't think it's going to be too exciting, this race. I can't see a scenario here where they don't stay together as a huge group to the end. What I am hoping is that OTR will start to play the rider off the front tactic, and because they've got enough riders to do that, and then when that rider's caught, send another one up the road, and then another one up the road, and then another one up the road, and you can see OTR are amassing at the front already along with Moon riders. So it's a valid tactic. It all depends whether they can work together and whether the rider's strong enough to do it. So it could end up being an exciting race. We'll have to wait and see. Slight gap now, but to be honest, it's all going to come back together. Don't expect anybody to break away anytime soon. It's just not going to happen. I think when you do see a rider going off the front, it's going to purely be tactics. Arhen will always push it, as he's doing at the moment. He just wants to see what people have got and who's going to follow him, which is a very valid tactic. At the moment he's riding with Linden from Poker Motion. But you can quickly see that they're being closed down. Nobody's going to be allowed to get big gaps here. Sam Hutt has gone to the front now and he's taking off. I mean, another class rider there. And he's calling out to his teammates to help him. So he's obviously wanting to push the pace along, let's put it that way. I mean, you can clearly see on screen, folks, if I just having a top overview of this race, and almost the whole field is up here in this group. And the only riders being dropped off the back, as I say, are those riders that are struggling to stay with the pace. You've got a huge amount of Ratio Racing riders at the back at the moment. So they need to get to the front and help. Who's that up the road at the moment? Rowbottom from Ratio. So they need to come through the pack and give him some assistance. You know, they shouldn't be letting just one of their riders duke it out alone on the front. They need to get up there and support him. As we watch Soderbergh again. I think this is the first time we've seen Kerpel from Race 3R off the front. Neugebauer's up there from Pedlars. I mean, there's a couple of Pedlars left in this race that didn't obviously go on the earlier running. So, and I would have thought that that Neugebauer is going to have something to shoot for here. He's a very strong rider on the flat. We know that. You can see him taking off at the moment, but I don't think this is a genuine. In fact, looking at his watt kilos, it's definitely not. He's not trying to break away here. He's simply seeing how far the elastic will stretch before they pull him back in. This is not a genuine attempt to leave behind the group. And you can see he's now being swallowed up by this huge peloton. What do you think, Andy? Do you think it's going to stay this way for quite a while?
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
There's not enough climbs to split the big group up.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I mean, the rises are only very short and very small. We're at 2.5%, 2.9%, 3% here. You know, that's not steep enough to make riders really suffer. And certainly not long enough to make riders suffer. You know, in just a few pedal strokes, they're over the crest of the lump, shall I call it. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I say, I think the riders dropping off the back are the ones that are genuinely struggling to stay the pace. And there won't be many of them. Most of these riders will be able to hack the pace by drafting. So, hence the huge group that we've got. But seeing as they are all together and they're now on a slightly downhill section, shall we move back down through the field and see what's happening behind them? And then we'll come back to the front if we see any change in the running.
Yep. So you got Gordon.
Who are we looking at here? Is this Gordon Jackson?
It is.
Okay, I'm just working my way to him as well. Come on. Took me a long time to get there. So we've got LeBlanc with him.
Yeah, so there's 41 riders in the main group.
Yeah, that's a huge number to go into the finish. Have you seen the bike that LeBlanc is riding on?
Yes.
Is that the World Bicycle Tour bike?
It looks like the WBR bike, doesn't it?
WBR bike, yeah, it does. Yeah, I used to ride that over on Swift. Okay, but Gordon's working with him, thankfully. But the 620 metres behind, so that's going to be a tough ask for Gordon to get back on the main group. Probably won't happen. So let's have a look and see who's behind them. Oh, we've got a nice group coming up behind them and catching them at the moment. So, yeah, this could help them.
They're going to go straight past.
Well, Gordon needs to
Waving.
obviously jump in. He's giving me a wave there, you've probably just noticed.
Yeah.
So Gordon knows what's going on. He'll probably jump in. He's canny enough. He should jump in the middle of this, get some recovery. And then see if they can pull back some of that gap. let's have a look at some of the riders in this group. We've got Mike Wareham from Moon Riders. We've got Murtaugh. Who else we got here? Christine. Trying to have a look. We've
Nesta's
got Speed.
on there.
Vesper, yeah. So yeah, there's a few good riders here.
Yeah.
But they're not really making inroads to the group in front. And
Keith's in the main group, but they're now 760 metres behind.
yeah, now what I can say at this point, I did say that I would try when we got to around about the quarter mark of the race. I did say I'd try to give you an indication, and I can safely say that the time set by the pedallers earlier of Doug Hart, Henrik Mad and John Beams is not in any danger whatsoever, given the current speed of the guys out front. Now I might revise that thought a bit later on in the race, but as things stand, the earlier running looks to be by far the much faster time. Anyway, let's work his way a bit further back, Andy, and see what's happening behind that small group.
So you've got quite a gap.
Yeah, it looks it. Who have we got behind them?
Slater, Marty and Lake.
Yeah, got them. Yeah. Yeah, that's quite a big gap in it. Yeah.
Yes, another 730 metres.
And then behind them you've got Chris Little, Blanchard, Solly,
Adrian.
And
Macca.
Adrian Bennett is there, yeah. Johnson's there. Paul Nichols is there. So some good riders being dropped off the back, which is a bit of a surprise. I think maybe some of them might have been caught unawares, I don't know. But and then you've got two OTR riders behind them, Macca and Lavelle. They're about 90 metres behind. They're going to try and make up some ground here. So now we'll get back to the front shortly, folks, but we're just going to work his way further back. We've got Frost a long way behind Macca, and Doyle a good long way behind him. So we've got a few riders here. We're down to 67 at the moment in Nowhere Land. Stuart Blackmore from OTR, out on his own as well. And then two riders behind him, two Brits, Montiero and Bailey from Moon Riders.
So they can see Shane in the foreground.
Sorry?
They can see Shane in the foreground, but I think he's keeping pace.
I mean, we're getting right to the very. In fact, they're the last. These are the last two on the road, aren't they? That we're looking at now.
No.
So let's.
There's.
You sure?
Yep.
I think they are.
You got
Me and you are the last two on the road.
Elliot and Judy.
Yeah. I'm watching them now.
Okay,
yeah.
super.
Okay, let's go back to the front then. Hit the key and go back to the front. And we can see who's that up the front. We got
there we go.
There we go. DeLoyne on the front with Rowbottom and Shapers from Raz. In fact, nothing much has changed here, folks. It's very much as you were. I can see Peter Brook-Ravel. I just saw his name appear, so he's obviously near the front. But like I say, very much as you were here. They're just swapping positions. Moon Rider decides to get on the wheel. Is he going to go past?
No.
Is that Wouter? That's Wouter, isn't it? Yeah. So, is he going to have he's going red, so he could be having a dig, or is he just stretching his legs? He's
Just
with
stretching.
Linden from Pocono. Now, if a couple of the stronger riders did take off, I think there would be a possibility of getting a gap. But I don't know whether any of these riders are going to risk it so early in the race. I mean, we're not even at the halfway point yet. But we're about a third of the distance.
Yep.
And as I say, calculating the time, the time set earlier of 54 minutes and 48 seconds still looks out of reach to me. But like I say, I'll give you a further update when we get to the halfway point. We'll have a much better idea. It's very likely what happened, and I don't know how many of you picked up on it, but what happened during the last flat stage that we commentated on, the second half of the race was concluded faster than the first half. And I think that will probably happen here. So whatever time we've got at the halfway point should be a good indication, because I think they'll either match it or more likely they'll beat the time of the first half of the course. And the reason why I say that is because the first half of the course was the only part with anything that you could reasonably call a hill in, whereas the second half has no hills whatsoever. So yeah, it's going to be a faster second half. Now, I think this is the first time I've seen jersey of Southern Dusty Wheelers off the front, the Polish rider, having a bit of a push, but he's very quickly swallowed up by the peloton. It's really hard as a commentator. I find these kind of stages very hard to commentate on, because there's not an awful lot of tactics going on. And the only tactics that could possibly work on this kind of a stage, at this point anyway, is what I said about, maybe team tactics where riders shoot off the front and then take turns to have a dig.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not happening, so there's nothing really of note to commentate on, to be honest. And I'm not going to use the word boring, but in reality, it's not really exciting. I can't get over enthusiastic when the racing is like this, because what is there to get excited about? I had hoped that with quite a few of the teams having multiple members, we would see someone at least trying to grab it by the scruff of the neck and make a difference. But I can fully understand why maybe that's not happening. People want to hang on to their places, and taking a gamble could perhaps cost them dearly in their overall positions. But it doesn't lead for exciting racing, I'm afraid. And I hope you won't mind me saying that, folks. Don't get me wrong, I think we're going to see some exciting battles as these riders get closer to the finish. Then I'm convinced we have to see team tactics come into play. Both me and Andy believe that this group is going to stay together. till pretty much towards the finish. But I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I'm really hoping we get some team tactics coming into play.
Yeah, and it looks as though Keith has dropped off this group down to the second group with a couple of technicals.
Oh, that's a shame. Shall we go back down through the field then and have a look and see what's happening behind? Because, like I say, this is pretty uninteresting at the front at the moment. We'll come back to them, but in fact, I want to come back to them, Andy, in time for the halfway point.
Yep.
So we'll keep an eye on them. We'll just quickly go back and see what's happening with the second group, if we can.
So that's Per on his own, and he's
just getting there now.
He's stopped.
I can see Soderberg, Per Soderberg. He's 40th rider. So, what did you say the front group was? 41 earlier.
Yeah, we had 41 on the
41.
first.
So
yes.
they've lost two. They've lost Soderberg, and then just behind Soderberg, if you tab down for me, we've got this little team here of Mike Janssens. Like you say, Keith has dropped back to them now. Yep. Gordon's there. Gordon Jackson. Murtau's there.
So I
Christine's
think,
there.
Yep, Christine's there. So I think Per is waiting for them.
Yeah, I agreed. I think there's no sense in him riding on his own. He might as well allow this group to catch him.
Yeah, but Christine's been fantastic.
I'm loath to ask, but is it a female?
Yes.
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 So she'll be first female on the road then. And yeah, she's looking strong. I'm watching her now. She's looking strong. Drafting well. Let's hope she can stay with them.
And there's Per in the foreground.
Yeah. So they're catching Soderberg. Yeah, I can see them clearly on my screen now. Here we go. This is the catch. And I think what you should see is James is putting in a big dig. I don't know whether you saw that. Is James James must be in the front group.
James is in the front group.
Yeah, I just saw his numbers going high there, so he's working hard to stay with the front group. But here we go. They've caught up with Per, and he should sit in. Now look how many OTR riders we've got here, so hopefully they work together. So let's go back to the front, please, now that we've watched the catch here, because we're coming up to the halfway point. Okay, we've reached the halfway point in 26:23. Now then, that's very interesting. I said that they weren't on target for beating the time, but they are. Now, the reason why I said they weren't on target was because obviously I was calculating the hills that they had to go up and everything. But now that they've got over the hills and set a time at the halfway point of 26 minutes and 40 seconds, they are on target to beat the time set earlier. If they can maintain this pace. This is going to be quite exciting. This is going to lead to a more exciting race than what I expected, to be honest, because I genuinely believe that they've got a real shot at pulling one over on the Free Peddlers riders, who probably genuinely thought they were going to set the fastest times by going off earlier. And I think it's misfired, because there's no doubt that Doug Hart, Henrik Mard and John Beams could have stayed with this group and taken advantage of this faster time being set. So what do you think, Andy? Do you think, like me, they could have made a tactical mistake?
We'll see, but I don't expect the peddlers in this group to do any work. They'll just sit in.
So you think that the peddlers here will just sit in and...
Yes.
That would make sense. Well, in fact, we'll watch for that, because have we seen any of the peddlers off the front at the moment? I don't think we have we?
No, there's only 2 in this group.
Okay, so yeah. You've obviously worked it out better than me on this occasion. Yeah, no problem. I never thought about that, but yeah, now that you've said it, it makes perfect sense. But I do think they've got a real shot, at beating that time.
It'd be good to see.
I think it would throw the GC wide open again. If, as it looks like they're going to do, it looks, to be honest, like they could take a couple of minutes out of the time set earlier, because they are going extremely well. And what's happening, as you can see, same as me on screen, what's happening is we've got riders that are pushing the pace along. They're not prepared to sort of let the pace settle. They're really pushing it along. This is great riding. You can see Peter, he's up there on the front, pushing along as well. Solly, previous winner off the front, row bottom. So Rassio Racing will certainly be wanting to push the pace here.
Yes.
And it wouldn't surprise me if they didn't do a team tactic kind of finish. We'll see what happens, but Careless Vesper's there as well. Yeah, this is looking pretty good at the moment. Now, providing they don't slope, which we're on a slight slope at the moment, so yeah, let's see what happens when. Nice to see Kerpel doing a turn back up on the front.
Yeah, Simon's really strong.
And he's got the Dane Oostergaard helping him as well. Working really well here. Oostergaard looks strong. Now that's the name I haven't seen before. Andy, do you know anything about the rider Stolar?
No.
No, he's another Swede, but first time I've noticed his name. But he's up there at the front as well, so. It's still a very, very large group. Nobody's taken it on yet. Mark has decided to have a push off the front. Mark Rowbottom.
Yes.
Like I say, I think Rassio may well be the team that decide to play the team tactics, because look at them, they're keeping a close eye on the front. They're definitely wanting to pull it along. Now who's that? That's just shot to the front. That's Arhen again, the Swede. I mean, this lad deserves a prize for being one of the more aggressive of the riders in all the stages I've watched so far. He's always been a rider that's not been afraid to push off the front. Wouter has gone with him and brought, is that Samut he's brought with him?
Yep.
Yuri from Rassio as well. First time we've mentioned him tonight, but he's looking strong. Nice strong pull. They're doing strong pulls, off the front here. So they are working really well and setting a fast pace here. Now it is going to be closer than what I previously thought. It's not going to be 2 minutes, that's for sure. But they are still on target to beat the earlier time. But it's not giving me as much by as what I was hoping it would be. My friend John will probably be thinking, "What are you doing, Derek?" But the reason I'm saying this, John and Henrik and Doug, is purely and simply because it will add to more exciting racing in the stages to come. If you three riders are, shall we say, caught and passed. And as a commentator, that's what I want to see. I want to see, some real excitement as we get further into the tour. And I think, Andy, that this weekend is going to be huge.
Yes.
We've got the rest day tomorrow. And then I think this weekend could well sort out the real main contenders.
It's an amazing tour.
It is. I love it. Third year commentating on it now. And I love it.
So those two pedallers are not going up to the front?
No. I'm watching that as well, yeah. They're just sitting in, aren't they? They're not even trying to get near the front. Say that, and one of them's just off the front now, but they're not even trying. Which is a valid tactic. They don't want to be pulling back the time of their colleagues that went earlier.
Yep.
So we've got 20 minutes, just a bit less, 19 minutes, shall we say, to do 12 kilometres. That's a gimme. These riders are going to do that.
On a flat course.
Yeah, it's a gimme. The question is, by how much are they going to take the win? Yeah. So we'll see.
Mm.
And as I said in the last flat stage we covered, Andy, I'm not even going to try and try and go for a winner here, because any one of these riders could take it. And I think it will be somebody that hasn't won a stage yet that takes it tonight. And again, that leads to a more open competition. So
yes, my lovely wife is printing out on the printer behind me. So it's a bit noisy.
Can't hear it. Can't hear it. So Lyndon's taking his turn on the front, the Poco rider. And Peter just taking over.
So we have 37 in the group.
Wow.
And then the next group is 1k down.
Shall we go and have a look at them?
Yep.
Shall we go back and have a look at them? Group 2 and see what they're up to. Who we got? We got Ploiter, Paul Pudell and James Ogilvie have been dropped off the back.
Yep.
So, and how far behind are they're 300? They're not going to get back on. So there might be. What do you think? Do you think they'll stay where they are? Because at the moment they're in nowhere land. They're between two groups with 370 metres either way. The 300 odd metres in front, 300 and odd metres behind. Do you think they'll stay as they are?
Well, they're working well together and they are pulling away from the people behind.
So yeah, it makes sense then not to slow down and wait, but to actually go for their current positions.
Yeah, because you got
which would
Calvelis is 430 meters behind, but then you've got the third group is a kilometer behind.
Oh, they're
So
not going to get caught then. Yeah,
they're not gonna get
and
caught.
even Cavalius is not really in contention to catch these three if they continue working.
Yeah, he'll get
So, yeah.
caught by the group behind him.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't spot that, Andy. Well spotted, mate. I wasn't looking that far down the field. So yeah, these three are basically riding for their current positions. So good on them. Let's go and take a look a bit further back and see what's happening then behind them. There's Cavalius and Racio in 38th spot.
Yep, and
the group behind are actually catching up with him. And it's a decent sized little group here. We got Bird, Murtaugh, Wareham, Soderberg, who, as we saw earlier, was caught by this group, so he's nicely sat in and is working well with them.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Simmons is in here, Jan Janssens is in here, Carruthers, Christine still... Oh no, Christine has been dropped, sadly.
Yep.
So Christine, and who's that on the back of this group as well?
Tony.
Is that
Tony Simmons.
Tony Simmons. So come on, Tony, spin your legs, mate. Get on that wheel. Let's just see whether he can make it up or not, or whether he's going to get dropped. It's always tough when it's about 10 meters. It's a real tough ask.
He'll join
to get back on. You've really got to put the power down.
He's 4.8 watts.
Yeah, he is. He's working really hard to get the wheel here.
He'll do it.
Now, what's he going to do? He'll get there. But what's he going to do when he gets there? Hopefully, get right into the middle. Keep on going, Tony. Come on. Keep on going. That's a good lad. No, you see, I've done this so many times, Andy. I've caught the group and then I thought, oh, I've made it. And then I've been dropped almost instantly because I've settled for getting on the last wheel instead of going to the middle.
Yep. And you're not picking up as much of the draft as you need.
Exactly. But Tony, look at him. He's doing the right thing. Okay, let's work his way further back then and have a look at Christine. Where's Christine? Oh, poor lass. It looks like she might be out on her own, is she? Yes, she is. So she's working hard on her own. She's obviously not going to get back in contact with the lads in front. And there's only really one rider behind her that could potentially catch her, I think. And that's Speed. This rider in red here. Hopefully Christine can stay ahead of the riders behind Speed. We'll just have a look and see who they are. Marty, Slater and Lake. So, with any luck? Okay, I want to go back to the front because I can see from the dots that something exciting is happening. So let's go back to the front, Andy. The dots have lied to me. They're all together. It looked like on screen there was a gap, but that's not the case. They are all still together.
It's a smaller group.
Yeah, that's probably what. Can we see if we can count how many we've got it down to now? Let's work his way through it. How many we got here? I'm just going to get an over. Oh, it's still a big group.
So
Still
34.
a big group.
Yep.
Way too big. Yeah. How many we got?
34 of them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's too many. Now they got 7.7 kilometers to go and 12 minutes to do it in. So this is going to be a very fast time. Keith is saying that there's something wrong with his rear area. I don't know if you picked up on that.
Yep. That was one of the technicals he had.
Yeah, so that's probably why he's dropped off. as we watched DeLoyne pulling it along on the front again, along with his colleague Ostergaard. Yeah, this group have really worked well together, you have to say. I think, you know, the majority of the riders, with the exception of the pedallers, have really done the turns on the front here.
Yep.
And as I said earlier, I do think we're going to see a potential new winner tonight. We watch Shaper's getting on Samut's wheel. Is it Jason Samut?
I really don't know.
No,
I will
think
I
it
will
might
find
be.
out.
I need to find out. I should have looked it up. I've had enough time now. I should have looked it up. Apologies if it's not Jason, Mr. Samut. I will find out. But yeah, huge group here, all working well together. Occasionally dropping a rider off the back. This one is just getting back on. And what we got, 6 now. We'll stay with this front group, I think, Andy, because this is where the excitement is going to be. Let's see whether we get any team tactics in the last 5 kilometres, or whether they're just happy to stay as a group and go to the line and fight it out in a bunch sprint. Rasio Racing just jumping off the front.
Yeah, it's John.
Okay, and Wouter. Now, I remember a stage last year where Wouter went off the front, and similar to what it's looking like now. I mean, this is very, very early, but he actually couldn't make it stick. He went off the front like this in a stage last year, and he was caught and overhauled.
Yeah, so they've been caught.
So we've got 3 riders off the front at the moment, with a 10-12 metre gap, give or take. Just have a look. But yeah, the group behind them are going to catch them now. In
Yep.
fact, it's all going to come back together. Yeah.
Yeah, so John Samut's second.
Yeah, you're doing very well changing the view for me, Andy. Thank you. Making my job very easy.
My pleasure. Commentary is amazing.
Well, like I say, I was a little bit disappointed that it looked like it was going to be an unexciting race, but it's hotting up now, and it's hotting up for one reason. That's the time. I'm constantly now watching the time, and they've got 6, 7. They've got 10 minutes now. Sorry, 8 minutes now. 8 minutes to do 4.5 kilometres, and look at the speed they're going. So you do the math. That's a no-brainer. They're going to take the fastest time, and by a good margin, especially when you consider that they're going to speed up in the last couple of kilometres. So I think pedallers who probably thought they were home and dry have really screwed up. I think they've made a huge mistake, because you'll agree with me, Andy, if those 3 riders had stayed in this group, they wouldn't have had any difficulty whatsoever staying with this group.
Yeah, none at all.
And getting the fast time. So I see that as a major mistake. The question is, how costly is it going to be?
But when those three pedallers were with Simon chasing down Casper, they were doing between 5 and 7 watts per kilo.
Yeah. Talking about Casper, seeing as you've mentioned him, Casper's out. He's decided not to take any further part in the tour, which is a little bit of a surprise. But I'm not going to say any more on the subject. But this group are now starting to tightly pack together, so you can tell that some of the riders are really taking advantage of the drafting here.
Mm-hmm. I think this is where you're going to start to see the splits.
Yeah, they've left it a bit later than I thought they would actually. I thought we'd start to see splits before now, but we've only got 2.8 kilometres to go. Let's try and stay as close to the front as we can, Andy, please. Obviously, we're going to see riders getting dropped off the back, but I want to keep a close eye on the front and see what happens. Are you going to try and pick a winner?
Rowbottom.
Rowbottom. I'm going to go for Neugebauer, who, as you can clearly see, is not taking any part in the front of the race.
Yes.
And my second pick is going to be Solly. And I'm going to choose 3. My third pick would be Samot. So let's see whether I can pick a winner out of 3.
Mm-hmm.
Oh dear. But to be honest, like I said, other than Solly, any of the other 2 would be a first win for them. Solly's already taken a stage. But I do expect to see a new winner tonight, and hope I do. So, Rassio, 2 riders on the front now, 3 riders on the front. OTR, I've got 2 riders on the front. What about Moon Riders? Moon Riders have got riders up the front. I'm really surprised that nobody's gone for a long one here. Really surprised.
Yep.
Just to try and break the legs of the group. I mean, there's no doubt about it now. They're going for a sprint. This is not going to be okay. Somebody shoots off the front. This is going to be a sprint. Now here's the red kite, folks. So underneath the 1 kilometre to go banner, and they're all together. Now if you look at the settings, there's Samut pushing off the front. I don't know whether this is an effort to go for it. I suspect not. I suspect the Rassio racing rider Cops has joined him, gone past. This is good. I mean, look how many Rassio racing riders you've got up here. Huge number. 560 metres.
Yep.
It's getting exciting, folks. Rassio on the front. Who's going to get it? We got, I think it's Igor Cops,
250
leading them out at the moment. 8.5 watt kilos. What a rider. Arhen, on his wheel. Is Arhen going to get it? He is.
Oh, excellent.
He deserves this. he deserves this for all the work he's done. What a ride from Arhen.
Yep.
Waligora got second, Cops got third. My pick Solly got fourth, with Yuri fifth. That was a great ride by Arhen. The way he came through there. But he's deserved that, Andy. I don't know whether you'll agree with me, but you know, the lad puts in a lot of work on these stages.
He did, he had.
And I think he totally deserves this win today. And the time, have you seen the time?
Yes.
Almost 2 minutes on the time set earlier by the pedallers.
Well, you called it.
That is massive. I said it'd be 2 minutes into, so I almost got it right.
Yep.
Just short of 2 minutes. Wow. That is massive.
And the Bears go through.
I think there's a lot of riders going to enjoy this rest day. Big shout out to all the riders tonight. Well done all for keeping the pace high and for doing just what you had to do. Just to remind everybody, tonight's races have taken 1 minute and how many seconds? 57. Come on, my brain's not working. Can't calculate. Almost 2 minutes. I can't calculate it. Almost 2 minutes on the main group as we watch. We're going moving further down the field now. Sorry, I'm getting so excited just looking at the timings and everything else. But who have we got on screen here? Let's get back to the action. So we got Paul and James.
Yep.
And Poiter. Now these three were together earlier, you might remember. So they've got Bird about 270 metres behind, but Poiter's going for it. He's going to try and get one over on the OTR boys.
Yep.
Which he has done. Well done, Poiter. And we get Paul and then James on his wheel. All coming in together. Next on the road we've got Bird. And he's just coming up to the line now. A really nice finish. And then we've got Mike Wareham and just being caught on the line by Soderberg. So Soderberg just took Mike on the line from Cavelius, Janssens,
Nesta.
Nigel. Is it Nigel?
Nesta.
Neston, sorry.
Yep.
And Jans Drost.
And you got
Gordon, of course. Well done, lads. Tony Simmons just come in as well. We've got Carruthers, the Rasio racing rider, coming in. And then we've got a little bit of a gap towards riders a bit further down the field. We got Speed and we got Christine has found a wheel.
Excellent.
Which is really nice. Well done, Christine.
She's pulled back about 200 metres then.
This is a good ride from this lass, and look at the speed that Speed is doing, the watts rather. Speed is doing 4 watt kilos and Christine is hanging on to his wheel. This is a good ride, well done. Just draft him. No, she wants to take him, does she? No, just draft him, lass, and take him on the line. No, she wants to do a fair share, which shows how strong she is.
Mm-hmm.
We'll stay with these two and just watch whether Christine can actually get one up on the Portuguese rider, who's giving me a wave, so perhaps he's listening to his commentary. Many of these riders do, Andy. Many of them tune into the feed while actually racing. I know when I used to stream, I used to chat quite frequently with them. So here we go. You've got the red kite just ahead. And is Speed going to go under the kite first? I think so.
Yeah.
1 kilometre to go. And this is why we stick with it, folks, because there can be exciting racing even further down the field. I have a feeling that Christine's going to stay in the draft and then try and come round. Now the question is, has she got a kick good enough to take him, or is she gonna fall back? Just stay tight on the wheel. Don't try and go past. Stay tight on the wheel. Come on, lass. Yes, she's doing well here, you know, to stay with him.
Yes. Yes, superb.
Really well. This is a good ride. Come on, lass.
500 to go.
Now the question is, has Speed got anything left? I suspect he will have. So I think she's going to have a work cut out here. Oh yeah, look, he's 8 watt kilos. 8 watt kilos to pull away. She's putting in 7.1 to try and get his wheel. 12 meters. Is she going to get back on? No, poor lass. She's not going to get back on. He put in the power and just managed to. But look at that. 6.6, 7.1 watt kilos from Christine to try and get back to him.
Yeah, superb.
What a great effort. Super ride. Oh, top marks there. So next two on the road, we've got Lake and Slater. We're coming towards the end of the race now, folks. We've not many more riders to come in. So hang around with us till the end. And Lake's going to take it from Slater, but I don't think they were really racing. Although Lake was putting in red numbers, so yes, he was obviously wanting to stay in front.
Yep.
Marty coming over the line, the Spaniard. And he's about 800 metres in front of this small group of Chris Little, Blanchard, Johnson. Who else we got here? Adrian Bennett, Paul Nichols, Sedlak, and Lavelle.
5 from OTR.
Wow. Yeah. Now the question is, OTR should be bossing this coming up to the line. So come on, let's see an OTR win from this group. Come on, Macca. I mean, come on. With 5 riders in this group, an OTR rider should get this. Come on, boys. Let's be having you. Now then, 250 metres to go and 2 OTR riders on the front. Is that Solly pushing off the front? Oh. Nice. Very, very nice. Chris Little.
Yep.
Well done, Chris. Yeah, well done. And Lavelle just brings up the rear of them. Okay, next rider on the road is Frost. Rider number 64. What we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 riders left to come in. And the furthest away is 1 kilometre, so another couple of minutes, folks, and then we're going to be done for the night. And then we can all look forward to the rest day, catcher's breath. But I'm going to go straight into the previous results and see if I can work out to what's happening on GC. Even before James does the results.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see what kind of a difference tonight has made. I think it has have switched around the GC a little bit anyway. So just thinking about it, Andy, which time slot do you want to cover on Saturday? Do you want to do the evening slot again?
If we do the evening slot and either the morning or lunchtime.
Oh, you want to do two? Okay. Well, I think the morning slot is a little bit later for me than it is you, so I can do either. So I'll tell you what, you have a rest day tomorrow, then let me know which one you want to do.
Yep.
So I can do either, with it being a slightly later time here in the Netherlands.
Yeah. I'll be joining my 3R teammates tomorrow night.
Okay. Well, have a good race, mate. Have a good race. How's Jonathan doing? I know he wasn't so well a little while ago.
Which one? Jonathan Geddes or Jonathan Stone?
Jonathan Geddes.
Jonathan Geddes is doing okay now. He's been sorting out his kitchen. His kitchen needed redoing completely. So it was a bit of a bomb site.
Well, give him my regards when you speak. Well, in fact, give all the lads my regards when you speak to them, because I spent a lot of time with them. Jonathan Stone in particular was one of my, I don't know whether he's told you, but Jonathan was one of my protégés.
Okay. No, he didn't
I brought Jonathan along in the True 2 rides, which were like the introductory rides for new riders.
Mm-hmm.
And Jonathan joined his team as a new leader under my guidance.
Excellent.
So he's a very good friend. I have a lot of time for Jonathan Stone. And Jonathan Geddes, we worked together, and Jonathan took over what was called Mountain Mayhem ride from me.
Yep.
And he's done great things with it. I mean, it's far more than I ever did with it.
I think it's Mountain Madness now.
Really good ride now.
Yeah, they do outdoors every Saturday morning.
Yeah. Well, as I say, I was the person that started that. So,
excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jonathan's...
Okay, here we go. Frost off the line. So yeah, I have a lot of friends, Andy,
sounds like it.
In Team 3R.
Yeah, Jonathan Stone's been ill over Christmas and New Year.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, well, give him my best.
Mm-hmm. Will do.
I mean, I had 2 bouts of flu over Christmas, so and on the actual Christmas day, I was in bed, so yeah, I wasn't well. Okay, so what we got here, we've got another OTR, a Moonrider, Doyle, and Montiero. 730 meters for these 4. Are we going to have another sprint, or is Montiero going to try and go for it?
He's pulled out, Gav.
15 meters he's got this, yeah. They're not going to catch him. So it'll be a three-way sprint for the other 3. And it looks like Doyle's going to go as well. So Doyle's on his way.
Yeah, Graham Saunders taught me leading and sweeping on True 2.
Who name? Graham Saunders?
Graham Saunders.
Well, Graham Saunders was taught by Jonathan Stone and myself.
Yes. It's a small world.
So you can see the hierarchy. I'm the one that started the True 2 way back in 2015, 2016.
Oh, wow.
And we watched these lads coming over the line. Well done, riders.
He got beat. Doyle beat him on the line.
Bailey.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry to cut you off, Andy. Sorry.
No, So Doyle took it on the line.
Yeah, saw it.
So these are the last two.
Yeah, Elliot and Judy. And it looks like Elliot is just turning his legs into. I think he's allowing Judy to stay with him. So we've got a little bit of a wait for waiting for these two to come in. 4.5 kilometres left to push. So chat amongst yourselves like we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, going back to our subject earlier, Andy, True 2 was a ride that we devised. Myself and really Jonathan came up with the idea. I started the ride, but we came up with the idea that 3R needed... well, in fact, we weren't even called 3R back then.
No, WPR.
It was the...
no, it was before WPR, wasn't it?
Oh, the Tibetan
yes.
charity.
Yep.
I can't remember the name of it, and I should do. But yeah, we started it up for a charity out of Nepal, and then we got changed to 3R, Race 3R, or Team 3R it was. We were separate because we were running the beginners rides. So we ran two beginners rides. We ran the True 2, which was capped at 2 watt kilos, and we ran the True 1.5, which was capped at 1.5 kilos. Now the True 2 often pushed the pace up to 2.5, and the 1.5 often pushed the pace up to 2.
Mm-hmm.
But the overall pace of the ride had to be True 2. So the overall average had to be 2. 2
yes.
and no more.
Yep.
And I got the name for myself, being the leader, of almost every single week. And Jonathan did the same following me. So me and Jonathan were able to come in week after week after week, bang on 2 watt kilos average. We got it down to a fine art.
Yep.
We weren't even 0.1 of a kilometre off the pace.
Oh, wow.
We were almost invariably 2 watt kilos bang on. And that's what we taught Jonathan Stone, and then Graham came on board. And a few more riders before I left, so to join RGT.
Yeah. So that ethos is still there. So the Monday, Wednesdays, True 2 is really about staying as a group and doing 2.0 at the end. And we've got some really strong leaders that just do that. On the Friday, we tend to do either a mini race or progressive watts or steps, just to give it a little bit of an edge, do something slightly different. Or an after party. We'll do Richmond and Libby Hill.
Nice. Well, I know when Jonathan was leading the Mountain Mayhem rides, I'd previously been able to sort of like stay with Jonathan, but I had a little bit of a rest from the riding, and when I came over to RGT, because I was trying to start up to similar kind of riding on RGT, I was riding at a lesser pace and I wasn't putting the work in. And I went back a couple of times to try and ride the Mountain Mayhem ride, and Jonathan just absolutely obliterated me.
Mm-hmm.
In the time I was away, he'd just grown so strong doing that week in, week out. And like you say, the other rides, the more aggressive rides. But I'm just very proud of, both Jonathans for what they've accomplished over on Swift, in keeping everything and improving on what was already there.
Yeah, we have a really strong team. One of the guys, John Paul Orr.
Yes, well.
He does out to Swift in 38 minutes.
Gee. Wow, okay.
So that's pro timing.
Yeah,
And the catchy name for the club in 2016 was Club DZI.
Club DCI, why?
Yep, because it was a sponsorship between them. So DZI Enterprise or DZI Foundation were in partnership with Nepal's remote communities to improve quality of life through advanced education, health, and reducing poverty.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, the main charity when we first sort of set out with Team 3R was World Bicycle Relief, because we all had World Bicycle Relief jerseys initially, and then we got our own jerseys, and then sometime later it changed to the badges on the jersey. But yeah, World Bicycle Release, are they still one of the charities that Race 3R ride for?
It's one of the key charities we ride for.
Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah. I mean, I did, going back to 2016 now when I broke the Swift distance record, but I did that at Eurobike here in the Netherlands. In 2016, I broke the Swift distance record. I rode on a bike for 52 hours and managed to, in that time, did I think about 1,600 kilometers.
Wow.
So I got the Swift distance record by a good margin, and then my good friend Chris Hopkinson took it from me. But back then we were sort of like doing regular 12 and 24-hour events for World Bicycle Relief.
Yep.
And there was a Christmas 24-hour event every year by World Bicycle Relief, which I won. I think we did it for, while I was there, we did it for 3 years, and I won it 2 of the 3 years with the biggest distance.
Yeah, Ross Duncan does quite a lot of those 24-hour rides.
He does now, yes, I've seen.
As an ultra cyclist. I think not this Christmas, but the Christmas before, he was doing the Red Bull challenge, 24-hour challenge.
Yes, I think I saw that on Facebook.
And he just got pipped at the line. So came second.
Okay.
He was gutted. But he's not very well at the moment either.
Well, again, send my regards as we watch these 600 metres to go. But just back on the WBR thing, I mean, we did an awful lot of work for them back then. And I was top of my game in 2016. I'm not bragging, but I really was as an ultra-endurance cyclist. So I miss it, I'll be honest. I can't even average 2 watt kilos at the moment, so I really miss it.
Yeah, it's very addictive.
It is, very much so. Now then, is Mr. Elliott going to let Judy lead them out over the line? That would be a nice gesture. And Judy's working hard, but no, I think Mr. Elliott is wanting to take this 69 spot. Yep, there he goes. Both putting in red numbers, so what a finish. Well done. And that, Andy, just about wraps up our coverage, sir.
It does. Thank you. That was superb. And that time, the winning time tonight was icing on the cake.
Yeah, if there's anybody remained with us, just to let you know, it's worth repeating. Doug Hart, Henrik Mard and John Beams from Peddlers went in the earlier running of the race this morning, and they had a time of 54 minutes and 48 seconds for all 3 of them, so they all 3 finished together. Now tonight the winning time was 52 minutes and 57 seconds, so almost 2 minutes off the time set by Peddlers. So I think you'll agree, folks, the Peddlers have got some work to do. And on that note, I'm going to say goodnight to you all. I'm going to say goodnight to Andy and we'll see you on Saturday.
Yep.
Okay, take care, Andy.
Cheers, Derek. Take care.
Have a great rest day.
Yeah, and you. Bye.
Speak later.